was on short notice, as everyone knows. It was a little over 6 hours. And Paul cannot make it tonight. He's on a business meeting. As far as determination of the quorum, we have a quorum. So the next item on the agenda is to discuss Senate Bill, NC Senate Bill 802, which serves the DNX property at Wesley Chapel. The property in question is located north of the Cuthbertson Newtown intersection. It is, if you look at the bill itself lists 8 properties. However, the primary property is 42.99 acres. And I'll give you a little history behind it, I guess. Last Tuesday, a week ago Tuesday, Senator Tucker called me and said that he asked if we had anything on our zoning ordinances that would allow a solar farm. So I asked him for a day to get back to him. I did some research working with our planner. The planner did the research, actually. I'll give him the credit. And so he said that we have in our ordinances, which I knew, essential services 1, 2, 3, and 4. Anything having to do with power generation would fall under a 3, where a solar farm is not specifically called out because of the nature of some types of power generation that are more intrusive into an area in terms of noise and things like that. So it was limited in our ordinances currently to properties like commercial, I think it's light industrial, office institutional. Those are the places where you could typically have these essential services type 3. I did ask the senator at that time if we could be given the opportunity to work on a text amendment that would allow that use. I don't know, I hadn't had a chance to speak to the council members, but in my opinion, it would not necessarily be a bad use that would be allowed. It has a benefit to the community, and it would not increase traffic, would not increase school density and things along those lines. But he said that because the county has the allowance in their ordinances, which they do, that he would like to get this going and therefore de-annex the property out of Wesley Chapel. By Friday, the 1st of June, the bill was filed, Bill 802, as I mentioned. I called the senator. I asked him why it lists 8 properties. The senator insists that it is only the one property, the 42.99 acres, that is being de-annexed. And I did not bring a copy of the bill with me, honestly, but if you look at the bill, I don't know how those other other than to be listed as borders, which is what Senator discussed, but neither case. We neither here nor there the fact that that property is being de-annexed without really us having an opportunity to work with the resident that owns it. Never has approached the town on it. And again, I think it's something that if the council would be favorable to doing, we could do. In the meantime, the bill has now moved, as of yesterday, out of the Rules Committee, which is where bills normally go, and has now gone into the Finance Committee. And our understanding is it could be voted on as early as Monday or Tuesday next week. That being said, we couldn't wait for Monday night to have this meeting. So the meeting is to discuss it and perhaps consider which is the next item on the agenda, consider a resolution stating the village's opposition to de-annexation for purposes of rezoning property. And especially since we haven't been given an option to work on it. So that's the consideration, and I will open up the floor at this point to comments on anything from anything pro, con, whichever way? Mike?
Well, my first question is the landowner here by chance? His name is it
No.
Terry Byram or Byram Terry?
Terry Byram.
Terry Byram. Is Terry Byram here? I would have no problem reaching out and talking to Mr. Byram, but I didn't want to do so because I am a council member without speaking to council first. I think it would behoove us to pick up the phone, call the guy, or go knock on his door and say, why are you doing this? Because the thing that bothers me more than anything else, if he had come to council and asked us for a zoning change, we said no, then he went to Tommy Tucker, that would make sense. But he's decided to bypass us and just say, I want to do something with my property, let me just go straight to Tommy Tucker. That's not his job. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why he bypassed something that I think would probably fly through this council pretty easy, because as you've already mentioned, there's no strain on the schools, there's no strain on the roads, this does not create any noise, it's a solar farm. I personally would have no problems, getting this done and getting it done in a hurry. Why Tommy thinks he's got to take control of something that we should be handling is concerning, because it's a slippery slope. The next person on the list says, well, I want to do something, and again, I don't want to go through council, let me just go straight to a senator. That's not the process, and that's what I have a problem with.
Okay. And the bill?
No, I agree. It sets a dangerous precedent, and we have to stand up for our local municipality having some power and authority one of our main jobs is land use and zoning. And if that's taken away from us, why are we even a village council?
Okay. Bill?
So I agree with what Mike said. I would appreciate if the landowner would have come to us and gave us a heads up. But there's a lot of instances where people feel that they have no other option but to de-annex out. And it's not just Wesley Chapel, it's every town. They have the ability to do that. We had that incident happen when Epcom was doing the senior community. Basically, our backs were up against the wall and said, if you don't do it, we're going to de-annex out everything. And luckily, we worked that out as a council and made that happen. So I think that, I've been ringing this bell a while. Everybody knows the property over at Wesley Chapel Elementary. I've been saying, if we don't work with the builder, they'll just de-annex out, and we have no say in what they do. So if they want to build a gas station over there or a repair center, we have nothing to say about it. So I think part of the issue that we've had as a village is that we haven't had a solid planning person here. We had Joshua in the very beginning, which was kind of, could be interpreted different ways. Bill came in. Bill was excellent, but he was on his way out retirement-wise. We have Tim in here now, and in my own personal opinion, I don't feel like he's really connected with Wesley Chapel as far as what we may be looking for as a community. And so I think we need a planner that's here a few days a week, and someone that gets to know, and someone that's looking ahead of the curve, because I heard about the solar thing about a year ago. Talk about possibly, and I just don't know where I heard it from, but I did hear it. So what bothers me is that Mr. Byron never came to us and said, hey, what do you think? Because I agree with what Mike said. At that point, we could say no, and then you have other options. I don't want to, I'm going to vote for the no deal. That property's going to get de-annexed out. It'll be done by Friday. That thing will be done and over, and we'll have lost that opportunity. The property is a very big depression. So the game plan is the solar panels will be riding on the side, the property face from east to west. The gentleman is going to get about, I think he's going to get somewhere around $60,000 a year for that, to have those panels in that property for a 25-year lease. And then truthfully after that, he can do whatever he wants. But that's really what it is, and it's almost definitely a done deal. In all disclosure, I've spoken to Tommy a few times over the last, just today, yesterday. But I do feel we need to hit the brakes on this. But we need to do work as a village of being more proactively planning what we want in this community. Because we can't keep saying no to everything. Otherwise, people feel frustrated and they're just going to look for that other opportunity. So that's just how I feel.
Well, as a follow-up to that, Bill, just my general statement would be, as a politician, we're here to represent the people that elected us. And I think Tommy should fall under that same parameters. He's there to represent the people that elected him into his seat. And he seems to be ignoring what the residents want and just doing what he wants to do. And I think that's what bothers me more than anything else, is that,
Well, look what happened in Marvin. That gentleman over there kept saying, I want to sell my property, when I couldn't sell it. And then the time he intervened and the thing got sold, and that's what we're up against
I
now.
don't think it's still been developed, honestly.
And it's all approved and all, but somebody started. He started.
But here's a little bit of background. I've been doing this for a while, as many know that. I've stepped down for 2 years and now back in. The majority, almost all the rules that are currently in effect were put in a couple of years after the town, Wesley Chapel became a town in 1998. So we're actually in almost our 20-year anniversary in July. So that being said, the rules of zoning, planning and zoning for the majority were put in 2002 when it was first approved. There's been many tweaks since then, but they were put in by the residents of the community here, and the whole reason that we became a village is because we did not want to become like Indian Trail or somewhere else. Nothing against those, okay? They're fine, they've got their own history, they've got their own style and everything else. Wesley Chapel didn't want to be that, at least the citizens that were here. So they incorporated, they made together rules, and now that they want to sell and move away in some cases, not this particular one, but they want us to change the rules for them. That's not the way it works, because most of us that have lived here, and I'm going to include myself because I've been here 14 years, but I'm a newcomer essentially, moved here because of the way it's open and to me, more inviting and more, again, nothing against the other towns, it's just what I prefer. And matter of fact, I sold a house 2 years ago and had another house built in Wesley Chapel, just smaller, because I wanted to stay in this community. So I think there's give and take, which I think Bill is saying as well. I think that we have to have a discussion, but we have to be given that opportunity. And de-annexation, I've taken, I don't know how many classes, and it's not, I'm talking in less than 5, but enough on newly elected officials, et cetera, that talk about planning and zoning. They've never mentioned de-annexation as a zoning tool. And that's where my angst is, okay? It's being done, perhaps to fast track this. I don't know if there is a particular reason to do so, but that is not part of the bill even. The bill is, it's out of Wesley Chapel, it's now in the counties. It will be in the counties' hand if it is passed, or when it's passed, in the case of what Bill is saying. So I think we need to go on record that we're opposed to the de-annexation, not the use, and that has to be very clear. We haven't had the opportunity to even look at it. But again, I've ridden past, sorry, I gotta use the proper English, past the one that is down Newtown Road. I've got no particular issue with it. The county, by the way, I've called the county, I've checked to see what their rules are. They actually recently tweaked them. There is now a new zoning classification in the county called RA, I believe it's 200. And it basically means it has to be greater than 5 acres, so this property would still qualify. But it has to also fall under a special use permit, which means they're gonna have to go before the county commission to get that approved. And, they're still gonna have things to do, should they go that direction. It includes what I'll call niceties for the community, such as berms, et cetera. Again, I have no problem with the use, it's the method that's being taken. So that's at least from my perspective.
Bill, you said you talked to Tommy. Did he have any kind of justification for fast tracking this versus letting it go through the normal way of a bill?
And that's why I asked Brett just at the beginning of the meeting, I said, did he ever come and speak to you? Because maybe we didn't know about it, but no, I don't know why. I know that it's basically done, and it will be done next week. I do know that him and Craig are working on the intersection there, Cupperson and Newtown, and they're gonna be putting in a nice intersection there for us. The money's, their paperwork's basically submitted, Craig's gonna put it in, and so that intersection's gonna be redone.
Well, it's needed for the
I
schools.
think that was like a carrot, for us, like, hey, I did this and I'm giving you that. But no, Mike, I don't know why. You know, and that's when I'm wondering what Brad said, this thing just changed. Maybe there's a green light that he sees, I can get in right away. I don't know. Good question though.
Because this property has sat undeveloped for so many years, and now all of a sudden it's got to be decided on even within 2 weeks. And that's, there's just no reason to make this a fast track type of issue. There's no parameters for that. That's what's frustrating.
So here's what happens too, in case people realize. So there's 2 sessions in Senate. This one here is called the short session through the summer. So to get the annexation through, you pretty much don't want to have any real controversy with surrounding neighbors and properties and things like that. And you can get it through quicker. January will be the longer session where someone else who might be wanting to de-annex could go in that route because you can have more controversy and you need less votes. So some people could potentially be waiting for January, thinking, hey, this thing went through, I'm going to jump into January and maybe I'll get my property pushed through also. So that's why I'm signing this against the de-annexations. This one's going to happen, I'm positive. This other stuff, though, I think we have to somehow be able to have more say in it. I don't know how, but I'll leave that up to Brad.
Well, I'm gonna continue to work. I mean, as I do, I called Tommy when I saw the bill, Senator Tucker, I'm sorry, I should be more formal, on Friday. He did call me back Tuesday, and just explained the differences between what he told me and what I saw in the bill. I know what how the bill reads, but irregardless, it's a de-annexation. A de-annexation is taking property out of the town and putting it into the county. What happens in 25 years, or if it even gets to be a solar facility, I don't know. It's not in the bill. It's going to be totally out of our control at that point, but it will have impacts on our village, as some of the other larger subdivisions that are being built currently are as well. So, and it's an interesting discussion because we're having other conversations with the sheriff's department regarding deputies. We're having other, because even if we contract with a deputy, the deputy has a legal obligation to respond to any incident, whether it's in the village or outside the village. So if someone in another, if a contract deputy for another town is occupied, then our deputy will, and that's fine. I have actually zero problem with that. They're doing their job, and even if we're paying for it as taxpayers, it's a good thing. This is different. This is where we have no control. It may affect the density eventually, 25 years or tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but, I mean, I do take the senator at his word. That's what's being proposed. I've said that before as well, but at the other token, the annexation is not a zoning tool.
Well, Grant, let me ask this. I was just supplied the homeowner's name and phone number today. Does the council see any advantage to calling him up or going and knocking on his door and asking him about this? Or do you think at this point it is a moot point?
I don't have a problem if the council is in agreement that we reach out, we say, listen, the council has discussed this, the council feels that it was something that we'd be willing to work on. We feel it would be, a worthwhile advantage. The power companies are being asked to diversify their types of power generation anyway, which is probably why this is coming about. And again, I'm guessing, I haven't been part of any discussion around it, but I do know that. So they're being asked, instead of just coal and nuclear, to try solar, to try wind, to try, and so I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but again, this is a board.
I don't have a problem either, Mike. I think he knows it's a done deal, so he may just not. I think maybe someone should talk to the Platters, Becky and Butch, about their property. That would be something I think somebody should talk to, right? And find out what their intentions are. Their property's up for sale.
But that's already been changed on the zoning.
And that's actually already marked as commercial,
So it's
potential commercial,
Right, potential.
because it was near our commercial area.
Yeah, so that's probably going to happen, and that's something that we anticipated happening. This is something out of the blue that within a week's time, it went from not on the radar to being fast-tracked through Raleigh without any input from us, or giving little or no chance for the residents to chime in on this. And I commend Amanda and some of the other people who are on social media for at least trying to get the word out, so the residents know what's going on, and letting them know what tools they can use to hopefully express the residents' displeasure for this, and the fact that, again, politicians are supposed to do what the residents want. They're not supposed to just decide what they want to do by themselves.
Well, he is listening to a resident, at least one.
Well, it's
So-
a resident who's going to benefit financially versus the town in general, or the residents of the town.
I know, but let's balance the remarks to be fair.
True.
Please.
I look at it too, Mike, too, like a bathtub. If I pull the plug to let a gallon out, the whole tub wants to come out. So I'm a little worried too, who else is thinking about this? That's why I'm wondering, is there anybody we should be talking to? Anybody else that might? Anybody hear anything on the radar? I mean, this just hit us blindsided.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Yeah, we probably-
But I agree, we're on a slippery slope.
So if you want to go talk to them,
This is what happened
Have
2
we-
years ago. The residents went directly to the senator for the annexation.
Yeah.
They did not come to us. I invited them to a meeting. I had 2 public sessions that I just held personally, just to explain what was going on, not to make it a council thing or a formal public meeting, and we had a pretty full room. And I made the same offer and was told, we're already talking to the senator. What does that mean? And that basically means,
screw you.
I would not have put it that way, but basically, yes. Yes.
Are you going to read that into the record?
Sure. So the resolution which we're under, I didn't want to cut off any further comments though. Hold on. Any other comments before I read this? So the resolution we're considering, it says, resolution for the Village of Wesley Chapel on Senate Bill 802 under consideration to de-annex landowners from the Village of Wesley Chapel. Whereas the Village of Wesley Chapel respects the authority vested in the state leaders of North Carolina and representatives of the citizens of the different districts of the state, and whereas the Village of Wesley Chapel has authority to set rules and regulations for the development of land in the village and has adopted and maintained rules regulating development in the village, and these rules and regulations were set forth at the request of the first planning board and council and continue to be upheld and supported by the citizens of Wesley Chapel. And whereas the Village of Wesley Chapel's purpose is to support the citizens' village for their village and to serve as a voice for the greater good of the municipality. And whereas the Village of Wesley Chapel has received no formal or informal request to meet with any of the landowners listed on the de-annexation request to discuss their individual desires pertaining to their land before the petitioner's request was sent to the state directly. Whereas the Village of Wesley Chapel has not received any solar farm development requests or questions from the property owner for the largest parcel, and not aware of any other developer's requests for additional properties listed on the de-annexation request since its incorporation, nor at any time prior to this bill being filed. And whereas the Village of Wesley Chapel has not made any false pretenses to any citizen who voluntarily annexed into the village, fully understanding the development guidelines which have always been available to the public, and now for there be it resolved that the Village of Wesley Chapel hereby opposes de-annexation of properties within the village. The village believes this will set precedents and cause irreparable harm should the state undermine or bypass the authority of this municipality by granting de-annexation from the village. Furthermore, the Village of Wesley Chapel has offered to listen to the desires of the landowners, specifically to work on the zoning language modification to a text amendment needed for the solar farm usage discussed. To act on this petition and grant de-annexation would at a minimum, be perceived as an arbitrary act and by all methods an unreasonable abuse of privilege of power, circumventing the local government laws which the village and its citizens have established, in turn causing a ripple effect of injury to this village and all the municipalities in the state. Adopted this 8th day of June 2018, should we choose to adopt it. Any particular comments from anyone? Do I have a motion to adopt it, please?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second. Any further discussion?
Well, I just think it's important to point out that this resolution is specifically to talk about the process, but the solar farm itself, we don't have any objection to.
Correct. Anything else? All those in favor? Okay, it's unanimous, thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Thank you. All right, so
Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight.
there'll be a motion.